Hey folks, welcome back. So today I'm working on doing a little bit of firewood. Now you've seen in one or two other videos that I've got a whole bunch of cherry logs. We got some over there, and then we've got a whole bunch more piled up over there out in the hayfield. So those are, except for maybe 2 or 3 of those are all going to be firewood logs. Not really anything big enough to mill. But before we start into those, I've actually got a couple pieces of ash over here. These came from over that way, over towards the hayfield that I was working in earlier this year. And these are just ones that were wind blown over and they got knocked over there, so I brought them over here to cut them up. If you don't know, ash trees are being attacked by something called the emerald ash borer. And they get underneath there and they kill the ash trees off. So most of those are dying off around here. Not too many of them left, but if you get to them before they get too far gone, you can still get decent firewood out of them. So that's what we're going to try doing with these two right here. Alright, so this morning we're going to see if we can't get a few posts driven in the ground here. We're at the end of the spring field, and as you can see, we've already got in some of the posts we got in the corner end braces on each end of this end of the field. And then there's actually one post down there near the skid steer, and that's one of those leaning posts. So that's a corner. There's a slight change in direction there, so you have to lean the post into the wire. So we've got all those in. My dad strung the wire. I don't know if you can see it. Strung the wires across here, so this gives us something to line up the line post on that more or less is able to get them pretty straight into the ground. Now, this was actually done like a couple weeks ago, but we haven't been able to get the line post in either because it's been really muddy out and we haven't really wanted to come up here and tear things up with the skid steer. The other reason was because the ground was frozen, and you can kind of see the bottom of this post right here, how it's a little bit chipped out. That's because we came out here like a week ago to try putting these line posts in, and it hit that post a couple times and it just split out on the bottom. So that kind of ended doing anything with trying to put in posts that day until the ground thawed back out. So you can probably tell we got some frost on the ground. It did freeze last night. I'm hoping it's not frozen down far enough that we aren't going to be able to drive posts, but we'll find out here in just a minute. All right, and just like that, all of the wires are stapled up on the post and ready to go. So what we're doing up here near this water is there's actually going to be sort of a small paddock that's right through here. And from this end post, there's going to be a divider that comes across the water. So we'll have half over here and half over here. And then this half on this side is going to be within this paddock. And then this side can be accessed from the spring field down here. And then the other side over there can be accessed from a field that's going to be up around in here. Now what you're seeing a lot of over here is autumn olive. So eventually this is all going to be cleared out in here for the most part, and this will all be back to pasture. So we'll be able to have two separate areas that can be accessed from the same one. It's really hard to show this from the camera because you can't really see the full scope of how this works together. But that's kind of the gist of it. And then there'll be a small kind of paddock right here. It's maybe going to be 1/4 of an acre, something like that. And then there'll be a gate up there and a gate down here. And for the most part, this will just be kind of a communal area where the cows can come around into and get to the water. But if I ever wanted to separate some of them out, I would have an option to have a little holding area up here as well. Now I was going to work on trying to put in some more of the corner posts, brace posts, stuff like that today. But my dad wasn't able to make it out here, and it's a lot easier doing that stuff with 2 people instead of just 1. So instead, we're gonna mess around with trying to cut up some of these cherry logs that we've got down here. I've still got another, I think 2 more over by the mill house that need to be cut up. So we'll get those 2 first, get that stuff moved out of the way, and then we'll bring a few of these guys down closer and try and get some of this stuff cut up. I'm almost out of bar oil, so I'm not sure how far we'll get with this project today. I wasn't planning on doing it, but we'll get done what we can get done. Alrighty folks, well that is gonna do it for this time. I've already started moving some of this wood out of here, get it out of the way so it's not right at the bottom of the stairs here to get up into the loft. And I'll probably be burning some of this a little later on this year. Maybe once we start doing a little bit of maple syrup. I'm gonna need some more wood for boiling for that. Speaking of which, next week we're gonna start tapping some trees. So that's what next week's gonna be on. I don't know how much we're actually gonna show for next week because I think the weather's supposed to warm up a little bit, so I'm not sure how much sap we're actually gonna get running after I get the taps in, but we're at least gonna get the taps in and get that process started. So that is gonna be it for this week's video. As always, I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you next time.